What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Level Up Podcast. I am your host, Jeremy Cornelius. We go over topics like self-improvement. I also interview entrepreneurs on here. These are professions in their field. I brought in a relationship coach last time, financial strategists, real estate agents. So if you are new to this channel, hit subscribe. I'm almost at 500. So get me to my goal of 500 and I will release a special video that I did with my wife. She asked me some questions at the end of my very first podcast, and you don't want to miss it. So in today's episode, we're not going to stray away from the topic of self-improvement. First thing I want to bring up is in Asia, right? A lot of you guys have heard of it. It's called the bamboo. It doesn't grow in the first year. It doesn't grow in the second. It doesn't grow in the third, the fourth. But the fifth year or the sixth year, that's when it starts growing. And why is it not growing? Why can you not visibly see the roots? It grows first. The roots has to grow first. And so if you want to become the best person, the best version of yourself, then you have to kind of, switch your mindset. And it's not about, listening to these podcasts and stuff like that and going online and just looking this stuff up, right? This is the stuff that's internal. Like, you hear this stuff, but you have to put action towards it. Massive action is what you need to be doing, right? I had a guy, he challenged me to do a podcast every week for 6 months. And in my head, first thing I thought was that's a lot. I don't know if I can do it. I've never been really that consistent with, too much anything other than, dieting and nutrition. Me having that success from doing other things is what caused me to know that I could probably do this, right? And so I had Jeremiah Callahan on here, right? I asked him what was one thing that people can do to level up their mindset. And the first thing that he said without hesitation was self-talk. All of these scenarios that I just mentioned, the guy that I was talking to challenging me to do a podcast every week for 6 months, it had to include positive self-talk, right? Because I read a quote this morning, shout out to Katie Matthews. The quote that she posted was, the world is full of people that basically had ideas but didn't realize how close they were to reaching their goals, and then they just quit. And I was thinking about that heavily this morning, on my way coming from the gym. And I think about this so much. Everywhere I go, once you come into this information about leveling up and daily non-negotiables, it takes years and years to see this progress. Most people quit because they're not seeing the progress quick enough. And I always remember in that book, I think it's Think and Grow Rich, the story of the guy that's digging for gold. And then there's a picture. One of the guys, he finds the goal, he goes all the way, and then the person that was right behind him, he turns back, right? Because he got tired and he just gave up. It's like a graveyard full of people's dreams. And only the successful people, right? Just imagine if you never gave up on that idea that you had, how much farther that you could be. Compare how far this person has gotten and where you are at right now if you gave up on that dream. There are clothing companies, my first really entrepreneurial venture online was a clothing brand. It's called Millionaire Gains Club. If I would have kept going, then I would be so far ahead. And there's a lot of companies that started around the same time that I started. Some of them succeeded because they kept going. They did not give up. Me looking back right now, I can see how I messed up, where I messed up. And if I was to start a clothing brand to this day, it would be successful because the information that I have learned over the years, the self-confidence that I've gained by seeing that if I never quit, what could happen. My business right now is a media company. I do graphic design, photography, videography, for businesses. My first client that I ever got, it was a restaurant that I frequent, and I gave him a business card. This person did not call me until 3 to 4 months later. I didn't have to call him. I didn't have to, persuade him and do all the sales stuff, right? I just presented the opportunity, right? And he ended up, picking up the card, I guess, a few months later. So when he called me back, I looked at everything. I listened to what he wanted, and I gave him a quote. Like, ain't no way that this guy is gonna pay $3,000, right? But after I gave him that quote, he's kind of like, let me, kind of scale back. Can you just make it simpler? Or, basically, I understood that he didn't have that much money to invest. So I'm like, okay, we can take this off, and that off. That confidence gave me enough confidence to continue my business, right? And not to say that if that didn't happen, that I wouldn't still persist, right? Because at one point, you have to get tired of giving up on what you believe in. You got to get tired of giving in to trivial things. Some people wonder, like, right, why successful people can lose what they have, right? A lot of people hate the president. Their main argument is, oh, this guy has, squandered, most of his money. He went broke. He, went through bankruptcy and all of this, right? But these are people that probably never built a business. These are probably people that never persisted in anything that they wanted to do. So they can't even fathom, they couldn't even imagine having that much money and losing it, right? It's the same with broke people. Broke people and millionaires financially are kind of like the same. It's just one has a different mindset and the other, one has a different mindset. They just deal with a different level of money, right? If you can be $3,000 in debt, right? But you're in debt because you are not putting these into assets. You're in debt because you wanted to buy a couch for your house. You're in debt because you ordered too much DoorDash this month. Successful people, millionaires, billionaires, are in debt because they are investing in businesses. When they invest in these businesses, their companies get evaluated. They may not have the liquidity, but they can sell their business off to other companies. You have to become valuable. The guy that gave me the opportunity, right? This was my first gig. Imagine making $3,000 on your first gig. The when you decide to start your business and it's slow for a minute, and then your first client is a $3,000 client. If you guys want to sign up for Discord, the link to the Discord is in the description always. If you guys want to join the Facebook community, that link will be in the description as well. We got entrepreneurs in there. I'm trying to build this Discord, y'all. So when y'all get up in there, then I'm going to invite my entrepreneur friends in there so we can give y'all much needed value. While we pulling this up, y'all, right? I'm going to bring him up again. And I'm going to have him on here one day so y'all can see, right? And I'm not bashing this guy at all. We're actually cool, right? So, but this guy, the little homie, I'm going to call him the little homie, right? The little homie, yesterday, we have these like potlucks. 75% of the time is crap, right? Pizza, Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is cool to some people. Some people like it. Some people think that it's healthy. I don't. Burgers, taco bar, stuff like that, right? So yesterday they had hot dogs, and he was just so adamant about telling me that I should enjoy a hot dog. And I'm telling him that I cannot eat stuff like that. Like, have you watched the videos of how these people make hot dogs, how hot dogs are actually made? You should have heard some of the stuff he was saying. But he was like, man, you are not going to be happy if you don't give in to some of your cravings. And I told him, I'm like, look, I allow myself a cheat meal, because he brought that up. I allow myself a cheat meal, but not during the week. I have to be productive. I work 2 jobs. I go to the gym. And I have to keep my mind and my body clear the whole week so I can be as productive as possible. I'm saying this stuff, he pushes back. He's a contrarian, for sure. And some of this stuff that I think he just be trying to pull out of me, right? Because I'm not like everybody else, right? I was able to cut, all these people are standing in line. I was able to cut through all these people in line. And I'm not bashing nobody, but this is just real actual facts. I was able to cut through the people in line, because my wife, she prepared my meals. I'm eating healthy. Go to the microwave, put my chicken and rice in there. That's what I eat every day. Afterwards, I feel good, right? I feel good. My body feels good. My mind, it feels clear. I don't feel all sluggish. I don't feel like I made a bad decision. And some of these people see it time and time again. People are not living out how they should. And it shows up mentally, right? I'm at work the other day. 2 people just flew off the handle. I had to encourage the people that these people are not mad at you. These people are mad because they cannot afford what they wanted, right? Imagine having endless amounts of money, right? And at one point in time, these people probably did have a good amount of money, right? But they squandered it because of their mindset. And you can see it in these people. They're negative people. They're not trying to understand how businesses work, right? They're blaming us. This is not our business. This business is owned by some other person, and they can dictate how much they want to sell their products for, right? But they're getting mad at the wrong person because they are ignorant about it seems like just life, period, right? This is why I try to educate myself daily. You got to be in the know. You got to know what's going on out here. I don't watch the news and none of that crap because it's very negative. But at the same time, it shows you like which direction the world is going in and how people think out here in the world. There's an analogy. I'm going to give y'all a great analogy. An eagle. An eagle is flying high, right? It's one of the greatest species of a bird. I don't know what you call them, the technical term or whatever. But anyway, imagine an eagle laying his egg or whatever it does to make a baby inside a field of chicken poop, right? And then the eagle, it hatches and it's around all of these chickens. So it starts, trying to flap its wings and it's clawing because they see all the other baby chickens doing the same thing. And then the eagle ends up growing up, and then it sees the eagle flying high in the sky above every other bird. If you ever seen an eagle fly, it's very beautiful, right? But chickens, they can't fly, right? They can just flap their wings and move around and walk and all of that stuff like that. So the eagle sees the other eagle in the sky flying, but it's been surrounded by all these chickens. And the eagle says to the chickens, man, it must be amazing to, be like an eagle and fly that high. But the chickens tell the eagle, like, you'll never be able to do that. Don't worry about that. You're one of us. But the eagle don't know, right? He cannot see himself. And just because he's been surrounded by this his whole life, that's what he will pretty much be in perpetuity. The mindset that took me from being an average person, and the breaking point that I had was me being in jail. I was a hustler on the streets back in the day. Being in that lifestyle, hustling, going shopping every day, you just have endless amounts of money. As long as you got the work, then you got the money, right? As long as you got the clientele, then you got the money. I would treat all of my clients with love, right? And so I never ran out of money. I woke up, I did whatever I want to. Then I went from that to being told what to do, what time I need to get up, and it was just a totally different lifestyle. Most people, they do these crimes and they wear it as a badge of honor. But for me, I'm like, I'm never coming back to this place. I made up in my mind that I'm going to get out here, and if I got to, I'm going to get 2 jobs just so I won't be in that broke mindset, so I won't have to go back to doing what I did to land me in that place, right? A lot of people, they be like, oh, when I get out, I'm a hustle harder. And then they just, in the inside, they learn from other people so they can try to figure out how they can be a better hustler or whatever. But my mind didn't go that way, right? Why? Because I read books while I was in there. I worked out and I just rehabilitated myself. The transformation of your mind is impactful. That's what I did. And so as soon as I got out, right, it was a struggle at first, but I did what I said I was gonna do, right? And I could see the game changing. I don't know if the game changed, but it seemed like it was getting worse. They had drug court and all of this other stuff. The crackheads, they had to report like every single day or once a week. And I know crackheads, they gonna end up messing up or whatever. But it was just a total. It's like when I got out, I wasn't in there that long. I was in jail, not prison. I wasn't in there that long, but it felt like the world changed around me. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But that's what it felt like because my mind was renewed. I no longer thought like I did before I went in there. Yes, I still wanted the money and all that, but that's when I was like, okay, I'll get 2 jobs if I have to. End up doing that, and then because when I got out, I had no car. Even before I went in, I didn't have a car. When I got out, I didn't have a car. But I slowly hustled my way up. I catch the bus to my jobs and other stuff that I needed to do. I made sure I looked the best, got my hair cut. Well, I got my hair braided. I had braids back then. Got my hair braided, kept myself groomed up, wore dress shirts with ties and stuff like that. I was just a different person. And that's where the level up started, right? Jeremiah said that, you start leveling up when you're a baby. And I agree with that, right? But everybody has this breaking point. Everybody has this point of time to where they hit rock bottom and they decided to become a different person. And there's some people that pay money to go through these transformations. I believe it's called NLP. I did some kind of form of that. It's just basically positive self-talk. It's basically you seeing yourself as this person and you're taking the actions towards it. It's very simple, but some people miss this concept. They do not get it. It doesn't click in their brains, right? And it's just like in the Bible, when you read the Bible, it says like this veil is over your eyes and you can't really see anything because you are so focused on, or you're just enamored like with all of the stuff that's been on you, all of the past situations that you've been in, and you don't see a way out. Imagine a rock and an architect. The architect sees the rock and he subtracts from it. Most people will see a rock and be like, they'll try to add to it, right? But the architect, he chisels away at it till it becomes this beautiful sculpture. And I don't know if y'all seen the memes or whatever it's called online with the buff guy, and he's standing in this lower part of body fat and he's chiseling away at himself. That is what we have to become in our life. We grow up, and I said this in a previous podcast, we grow up and we get told how we should think. We grow up and we listen to all these people that they say we should listen to. But some of this stuff is not providing us value. Some of this stuff is keeping us in a perpetual state of just doing the same thing over and over, and it keeping us average. But when you decide to renew your mind, when you decide to seek the information, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. When you choose to decide that I will no longer live the same way that I lived before, then you will start making better decisions. You will start seeking better information. They say that everybody should have 5 people, like your top 5, right? And these are the type of people that you learn from. These are the type of people that you model yourself after. And I'm not saying be exactly like these people. You are your own individual, right? But you can take bits and pieces from each individual and make a super person, right? For lack of a better term. Grant Cardone, I love Grant Cardone. He is the entrepreneur that doesn't give a crap about what people say, but he does not allow that to stop his business. This dude is still hustling. He's steady coming up with new ways, most people say he a scammer, and this comes from people's limited mindset, right? If you make that much money, there has to be some kind of scam. No, there's no possible way somebody can make that much money. If you have a bulletproof mindset, then that it will not stop you. Trust me. I was talking to my son the other day. He was talking about Messi, right? And he was saying that Messi has some kind of scandal or allegations going on. And I was trying to tell him that they say this about most successful people. They say this about all the greats. Michael Jordan, we know he's a gambler. Tom Brady, one of the GOATs. I'm a Patriots fan, if you guys don't know. And this has been since 2002, so I'm not a bandwagon fan. They deflate gate. Everybody knows that, right? Nobody can be just great. Nobody cannot put in enough work. Nobody cannot focus on themselves as much. Nobody can just be a superhuman and just be great without some kind of scandal. And this is what average people think. The average people think that you cannot just be great. There has to be something hidden. There has to be an Illuminati somewhere. There has to be somebody in the back pulling the strings. And this is because people give up on there's a graveyard full of people's dreams out here. So anyway, getting back to the book, the Level Up ebook written by yours truly, Jeremy Cornelius. This is a section called Massive Action and Obsession. And Grant Cardone, he has a book called Be Obsessed or Be Average. And that's one of Earl Nightingale's secrets, strange secrets, right? Is obsession. You have to be very obsessed. But anyway, most people underestimate what it requires to win. High performers do not. They commit fully and remove the option of retreat. Massive action is not reckless, it is decisive. One of the key principles that I wrote, success rewards speed and commitment, not hesitation. One of the things that I've learned, even when I was younger, I used to write these raps. At one point in my life, I was a rapper, right? I tried all of these things, and each of these things has taught me so many life lessons. So most people will look at a failure as just a failure. I look at these points of time in my life that I've given up as learning lessons. I used to write these raps and I never put them out. Like they never came out. I was just writing. And I come up with the CD covers and all of this stuff, but I didn't physically know how to put it together until way later on in life, which that's another story. But anyway, I would later hear some of the pieces that I rapped in other people's rap. Bone Thugs and Harmony was one. It was just different elements in different raps, right? So if you do not put your goals at the forefront, if you do not take massive action, then it will go to the person that is not scared to take that action. These people, Bone Thugs and Harmony, they're a great group. They got on the bus because they wanted to pursue their dreams. And that's exactly what they did, and that's why they're successful to this day. They just recently got a Hollywood Walk of Fame. But anyway, they've got all of these big wins. They got all these, successes because they got on that bus and went to a foreign part of the United States, which was California, and they're from Ohio. They come from Ohio, which nobody knew about back then. And even to this day, they have memes about Ohio. But they went from their hometown to another part just because they was so obsessed with making it and meeting this person, which we all know to this day, one of the legends, Eazy-E. They went and sought him out in particularly. It's the same with the book Think and Grow Rich. This guy, he got on a train and went to go see this person that everybody knew and said, I'm going to be your business partner. He, for one, spoke that into existence, and he took the massive action to do this. And we're still sitting here trying to come up with all of these reasons why we can't do something. We watch people every day online. We watch people every day online, watch people every day on TV, and these people are killing it. They're crushing it. And we cannot do simple stuff to make sure that we can be in that same situation. These people are no different from us. They just took massive action. Go grab the ebook. This is years and years of information, of studying the greats and putting it into one book. This has caused me to start a podcast, grow my channel, grow other people's channels, grow my business, and help other people grow their business because of the information. If you guys do not seek out information, then there's no point of even going after your goals. The ebook is out. Y'all go check it out in the description. Go buy the ebook. The workbook is coming out. If you guys want everyday actionable steps and something tangible that you can get on your phone every morning instead of getting on social media, these are daily non-negotiables, y'all. I would not be in the situation that I'm in. I just lost 70 pounds, and this came from years and years of me studying nutrition. It came from years and years of me putting in massive action. I'm Jeremy Cornelius. This has been another episode of Level Up Conversations. Stay tuned, stay blessed, stay motivated. I'll catch you guys in the next episode.
You're watching Jeremy Cornelius, where he focuses on one thing, leveling up. From business and branding to fitness, family, and mindset, this is the place to grow. Real stories, real insights, real transformation. Welcome to the journey. Let's level up together.